Hello stars, how you doing today? And this is week 2 of your stay in Willow Nature's Varsity. I hope it's been an amazing one. We couldn't meet up on Saturday because I had an emergency, and by the time I came back, you guys were probably busy and you couldn't join me. So we're gonna have our week 2 here, and maybe in the next few days we're gonna have our week 3 recap. And today we're going to be talking about emotional awareness. So, which is also your self-awareness. I'm sure the last class we started by talking about what are emotions, how emotions are formed, and the amygdala and all of that. We also talked about the 5 major pillars of emotional intelligence, which has to do with the social self-awareness, self-control, social awareness, motivation, and managing other people's emotions. So today we're going to be focusing on self-awareness, which has to do with understanding and owning your own emotions, right? So I'm going to start with this quote. When you name it, you can tame it. When you name it, you can tame it. So when you can name that emotion, you can actually tame that emotion. So what's the definition of self-awareness? It says it's the ability to recognize your emotions, thoughts, and values and understand how they influence your behavior. It's the ability for you to recognize your emotions, the thoughts, your values, and how they influence your behavior. Now, if I want to simplify this, I would say knowing what is going on inside of you. You need to be able to know what is going on inside of you. So let's talk about, I know if you've been with me, you understand that Tolu is our muse. So let's talk about Tolu. So Tolu felt angry after lunch, but he didn't know why. He yelled at his friends for no reason. Have you ever felt that way? So what's really going on with Tolu? Tolu is not sure. He's just angry. Now, let's go back to class. I'm sure by the time we go on, we're going to come back to Tolu and understand what happened to Tolu and how we can help Tolu. Now, why self-awareness matters? Number one, it helps you understand what you need. When you're aware of what you're doing, it helps you understand what you need. It helps you control your actions and it helps you communicate better, right? These 3 things, once you're able to understand what you need, once you're able to control your actions, once you're able to communicate better, you're going to be that one that everyone wants to be around. You want to influence people. Now, that's part of the things that being in Willow Nature's Varsity is all about. You have to be that person, not because people think you should be, but because you want to be that person that is responsible enough to own their emotions and not just throw tantrums around. Part of the things I used to talk about, we talked about last class was that, when you don't know how to use your emotions, you can be like that child just cribbling around and, just doing those. Some of you say they are writing jaga jaga. You might just be that person writing jaga jaga with your emotions, right? And you don't want to be that person. So it's about you understanding yourself. Now, one of the activities we're going to do, and we're going to explain this more when we meet, and the activity is you have to draw yourself and the 5 feelings you've had this week around the figure. So your activity, I'm sure you must have done it. We are going to explain more when we meet in our next class on Saturday. Is you drawing yourself and you write 5 feelings that you've had this week around that figure you have drawn. And what caused those feelings? So it's going to be your worksheet and we're going to explain more about it. Now let's talk about feelings. Now many people don't know that they are sad, angry, or more. Like there are a lot more. There are like 6 basic emotions: sad, angry, frustrated, surprised. I think I can remember that 4 top of my heart. But they're actually, and you're going to. So when you come to class again, we're going to show you that emotions card, and we're going to look around it. You also have your emotion wheels, right? Emotion wheels has 6 to 8 core branches, and you're going to choose. So all of these things are going to be in your worksheet. That means you have to go to your worksheet and actually do your worksheet, because when we meet in class on Saturday, you must have actually done your worksheet for you to participate. So your worksheet has your emotions card and you're going to look through it. Now let's come back to Tolu. Now Tolu realized that I wasn't actually angry. He was embarrassed because he dropped his food. He was embarrassed. He was trying to pick up his food and it slipped from him and he felt embarrassed because some guys were somewhere laughing at him, right? So when he named it, he was able to apologize at his friend that he spilled his food on. So when you learn how to name your emotions, you will know what next to do. And that's the essence of this class. You need to be able to find what is going on with you at time. And that's why you have to take your worksheet very seriously, because some of these things you can visualize it using your worksheet and it will take you through the process. So when you have your emotional work, by now you should have your worksheet as you're listening to this. So once you're done with this class, you want to go back to your worksheet. Go and look at your emotional view and start to, the first thing is for you to draw. So you're going to draw in your journal and you're going to name it. Now let's talk about emotions and behavior. Emotions are the things that you feel inside of you, and behavior is what you do, right? Your emotions largely connect to your behavior. In fact, the bedrock of every behavior is your emotions. Your emotions they drive your behavior. The way you're going to behave is largely dependent on how you're feeling. So I'm going to take an example for you to see. Now, if you're feeling jealous about someone, if you have the feeling of jealousy about someone, you're going to spread rumors about the person. Can you see? Because you're jealous, oh, is it that girl? She does not even know how to walk. You start to say negative things about the person. If you're feeling happy, you're likely to hug somebody, laugh at them, say good things to them. If you're feeling sad, you're likely to go into your room and start to cry or don't want to talk to anybody. If you're surprised, you're likely to freeze, just like, what? So the kind of feelings you have per time determines the way you behave. So if you want to be a better behaved person, you need to know your emotions. You need to name your emotions. You need to be able to identify what your emotions are. Now let's talk about the emotion decoder, right? And these are lists of behaviors that will possibly match eating emotions. So when somebody is fine, what would they do? Again, this is going to be in your worksheet. This is your second activity you're going to find in your worksheet. So you're going to match out the behavior and the emotions. So I want you to take your time to do that as well. So that's activity number 2. I hope you're actually listing them down and you're working on them, because we're going to discuss this extensively when we see in class, right? So the emotions decoder, I want you to go back to it. Match the emotions and the behavior. Now, let's look into Tolu's journal. Tolu started writing a short journal and it says that today I felt dash because dash and I handled it by dash. So you're going to also have your emotional journal. Now, you'll be wondering, in this class, you're going to do more than you listen. You're actually going to do a lot more than the listenings you're going to do. Because in the doing is where you learn more about the things. All we're trying to do today is trying to help you name your emotions, identify them, and it is your exercises that is going to do it better. Now, another thing you're going to do is you will be able to do 3 things. When you start to feel a certain way, you're going to stop, breathe, and name. Stop, breathe, and name. Anyhow you're feeling, you're going to stop, you're going to take a breather in, and you're going to name 3 things you see and 3 things you hear. So let's talk about this scenario. You were not picked, or you forgot your homework, or you did something and they did not give you your accolade. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So you're going to choose. Now, I'm just giving you prompts of things that you're going to see when we get to class. right? When we get to class, our activity is going to get more robust, but these are the things I want you to begin to see. Remember, the idea and the concept of this is to make you understand yourself, understand your emotions, know when your emotions are going out of place so that you can start to consciously bring yourself back to where you're supposed to be, right? Now, words of feeling are power. The more words, the more control. If we are able to put words to the way you are feeling, you're able to control it more. So you need to know. So in part of your emotional will, you're going to see different spectrum where it starts from. You're going to see a place where anger is going to lead to bitterness. And you're going to see multiple aggressions or multiple emotions trying to come together to form a particular kind of emotion. So you see all of those in your worksheets. And we're also going to discuss it when we come to class. So you need to know the words. You need to find more words around emotions, right? And you need to try to act them out. So today we're going to, so what have we actually learned today? Let's come back to a recap. We've talked about what your emotions are. We've talked about how to change your actions. We've talked about the kind of behavior that comes out of your emotion. I've also given you all the activities that you're going to look forward to when we come to class. So this is just like a preparation. By the time we get to class, we're going to just dive into our activities and going to do. So you have your daily journal, you have your activity, and we will see in class. Yeah, take care of yourself. Bye.